I hear you found a strange object up here. Some people think it's one of our satellites. What is it, a flying saucer?
Pilots are reportedly encountering small, unidentified objects, sometimes in a swarm-like group, and as fast as Mach 35.
The US government is operating with secrecy above congressional oversight, UAPs.
When it comes to the UFO topic, there's no shortage of grifters, cons, and hags. I try to do my part to combat the nonsense and the gaslighting with these videos, explaining the best that I can exactly what's going on. It used to be easy to pull one over on the masses. Let's see if I can change that.
UFOs, it's not a debate. If you don't know, you just haven't been paying attention.
Oh, we know.
It was November 2004, and the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group was training about 100 miles southwest of San Diego. The advanced new radar on a nearby had detected what operators called multiple anomalous aerial vehicles over the horizon, descending 80,000 feet in less than a second. Fravor and Dietrich, each with a weapons system officer in the back seat, were ordered to investigate and found an area of whitewater in an otherwise calm blue sea. It appeared to them that an object about the size of a 737 was just under the water.
As we're looking at this, her backseater says, "Hey, Skipper, do you see that thing down there?" And we saw this little white tic-tac looking object, and it's just kind of moving above the whitewater area.
Like no predictable movement, no predictable trajectory.
As Dietrich circled above, Fravor went in for a closer look. So you're sort of spiraling down?
Yep. The tic-tac's still pointing north-south. It goes and just turns abruptly and starts mirroring me. So as I'm coming down, it starts coming up.
So it's mimicking your moves.
Yeah, it was aware we were there. I want to see how close I can get. So I go like this, and it's climbing still. And when it gets right in front of me, it just disappears. Disappears. Like gone.
And you saw no visible propulsion?
Right.
No, in seconds.
Yeah.
It was 60 miles away. Later, another flight crew encountered what they believed to be the same object and briefly locked onto it with a targeting camera before it zipped off again.
They didn't get a visual on it, but they did get this FLIR footage,
video.
the forward-looking infrared.
So you've got the infrared image,
Right.
Yes.
and your eyesight,
Yes.
and the Princeton,
The radar.
all saying there is something out there.
Yes.
Plainclothes guys come on board, just normal suits, and a couple, it looks like a couple of officers get called down to combat to sign over all of the data record, and they wiped CEC too.
Let's ask Dave Fravor.
Men in suits did not show up. No one told us not to talk about it. And this is because there's a lot of other people saying other things. I'm probably, as a CO of a squadron, in the top 20 out of 6,000. And no one came to talk to me. No one came to take my tapes. No one showed up in a suit. No one told me not to talk. No one talked to any of my air crew that were involved in this. There were 6 people total involved, the 2 that shot the video and the 4 of us that looked at it for 5 minutes with our eyes.
And they wiped CEC.
This is Mick West interviewing Alex Dietrich. She was the pilot, again, that was in the second airplane. She's the junior officer. She refers to herself as Green. She's saying that it only lasted 10 seconds. Fravor said it lasted about 5 minutes. Mick West questions her about this. This is her answer.
And my role as the junior pilot, the inexperienced pilot, was really to hang on and not lose sight of the lead aircraft that was piloted by Commander Fravor. I would say that it was about the size of a large aircraft fuselage. So it wasn't a pure cross
so
here.
You didn't see the wings of an aircraft, just like what looked like a fuselage?
Right. So it would have been sort of that oblong
right
shape.
Yeah.
That's the shape of the water that was churning.
Yeah.
And that I was just way behind everybody else because of my position in the flight and my junior status, and so green and inexperienced that I was, like, hey guys, what's going on? So it's entirely possible that I was just on the tail end But I with confidence can say that I was visual for about 10 seconds and that the actual aggressive maneuvering of my lead lasted for about 10 seconds.
Are you sure about that? What I want to be really careful of here is that we don't jump to conclusions.
UFOs, it's not a debate. If you don't know, you just haven't been paying attention. Where do they come from? We know they're not Russia. We know they're not China. We know that they're not ours.
Scott Kelly. He has a twin brother, and they both are astronauts. This is him talking about what it's like to be a fighter pilot and how hard it is in that kind of environment.
Flying, over 15,000 hours, 30-something years in airplanes and both in space. And the environment that we fly in, very, very conducive to optical illusions. So I get it, why these pilots would look at that go fast video and think it was going really, really fast. I remember one time I was flying in the warning areas off of Virginia Beach, military operating area there, and my Rio thought, the guy that sits in the back of the Tomcat, was convinced we flew by a UFO. So I didn't see it. We turned around, we went to go look at it. It turns out it was Bart Simpson, a balloon. My brother, Mark Kelly, former NASA astronaut, when he was the commander of STS-124, I think it was, in 2008, they were getting ready to close the payload bay doors of the space shuttle. So they see something in the payload, and they thought it was a tool, maybe a bolt. They couldn't quite figure it out. They were potentially going to have to go and do a spacewalk to retrieve it. But before they did that, my brother grabbed the camera, they took a picture of it, and when they blew up the picture, they realized that this is not a bolt or a tool in the payload bay. It was actually the International Space Station that was 80 miles away. And there are cases where, pilots have rendezvoused on a buoy because they thought that was their wingman. In my experience, the sensors kind of have the same issues as the people's eyeballs.
So now that we have a better understanding on the story, and maybe it was something a little bit weird, or maybe it was this.
CEO Rami Shmueli explains why this new model is so effective.
The balloon is already ready and fixed on the system. It advances according to instructions, and thanks to this car, it's capable of moving in any terrain. You can change positions at any time, even when the balloon is in the air.
So you got to look at this little thing. Imagine that if it was deployed from a submarine or small little submersible, maybe an unmanned submersible. This is a bigger one, 40 foot wide. It can be deployed for hours upon hours for just a few dollars a day.
See this big balloon? It has a 110-pound camera. Now that camera can see someone from over 9 miles away in day or night.
Now, let's take a look at it in action here. You may think this is close range, but it's literally miles away.
The cost for 1 day of operation, it costs like $10 a day, 50 cents per hour to operate compared to a drone, which would be something like $600 an hour. A helicopter, $1,800 an hour.